भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Chapter 5, Narada's instruction on Srimad Bhagavatam for Vyasadeva. Verse 21. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Sorry, Mataji, can you?
Yeah, I'm starting, Mataji. 21. Verse 21 to 40, isn't it, Mataji?
Yes, it is 21 to 40, but I need to put the other Devanagari as well, the Sanskrit verses. Okay. Just bear with me, please.
Okay.
Can you see the verses?
Yes, Mataji, I can see.
Thank you. That you can carry on now, please. Thank you.
So text 21, Mataji, you put 20. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Verse 21. Swamatmanatmamavehyamudaka parasya punsa paramatmana kalam ajam prajatam jagata sivaya tadmanubhavya vidoyodiganatam.
Translation. Your goodness is perfect vision. You yourself can know the supersoul personality of Godhead because you are present as the plenary portion of the Lord. Although you are birthless, you have appeared on this earth for the well-being of all people. Please, therefore, describe the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, more vividly.
Verse 22. Idam hi punsa tapasa srutasya va svistasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayo avichitotha kavipi nirupi yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam.
Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerities, studies of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry.
Verse 23. Aham purate tapave bhavam mune dasyastu kascharchana vedavadina nirupita balakeva yoginam srushrushani pravrushini vivekshatam.
O Muni, in the last millennium, I was born as the son of a certain maidservant, engaged in the service of Brahmanas who were following the principles of Vedanta. When they were living together during the 4 months of the rainy season, I was engaged in their personal service.
Verse 24. Temaye petika tikhilam chapaler bhage dante drutake anake nuvartini chakro krupam yadyapi tulya darshana shamane munayo alpabhashini.
Although they were impartial by nature, those followers of the Vedanta blessed me with their causeless mercy. As far as I was concerned, I was self-controlled and had no attachment for sports, even though I was a boy. In addition, I was not naughty and I did not speak more than required.
Verse 25. Uchestale pananumodito dvije sakrutsma bruje tadapasta kilbisha evam pravrutasya visuddha cetasa sadharma evatmaruchi prajayate.
Once only, by their permission, I took the remnant of the food, and by so doing, all sins at once eradicated. Thus being engaged, I became purified in heart, and at that time, the very nature of the transcendentalist became attractive to me.
Verse 26. Tatranaham Krishna Katha Pragayita Manu Grahena Shunavam Manohara Tasradaya Menupadam Vishnuvatta Priya Sravashangamama Bhavatruchihi.
O Vyasadeva, in that association, and by the mercy of those great Vedantists, I could hear them describe the attractive activities of Lord Krishna, and thus listening attentively, my taste for hearing the personality of Godhead increased at every step.
Verse 27. Tasmin stadalabdarucher mahamate priya lavasya skilitamate ma yaya hametat sasat samayaya pashe mai brahmani kalpitam pare.
O great sage, as soon as I got a taste of the personality of Godhead, my attention to hear of the Lord was unflinching, and as my taste developed, I could realize that it was only in my ignorance that I had accepted gross and subtle coverings, for both the Lord and I are transcendental.
Verse 28. Itam saratpa vrishika Vishuvato me vanusam yasomalam sankirtyamana munibir mahatma vir bhakti pravritartara rajastam opaha.
Thus, during 2 seasons, the rainy season and autumn, I had the opportunity to hear these great-souled sages constantly chant the unadulterated glories of the Lord Hari. As the flow of my devotional service began, the coverings of the modes of passion and ignorance vanished.
Verse 29. Tasyevam menuraktasya prasitasya hatena saha Sraddhanasya balasya dantasyunarcharasya cha.
I was very much attached to those sages. I was gentle in behavior, and all my sins were eradicated in their service. In my heart, I had strong faith in them. I had subjugated the senses, and I was strictly following them with body and mind.
Verse 30. Jnanam guhyatam yat tat sakshat bhagavato ditam anvavochan gamishyantaha kripaya dinavatsalaha.
As they were leaving, those Bhakti Vedantas, who are very kind to poor-hearted souls, instructed me in that most confidential subject, which is instructed by the personality of Godhead himself.
Verse 31. Yenevaham bhagavato vasudevasya vedasaha mayanubhavam vidam yena gachanti tatpadam.
By that confidential knowledge, I could understand clearly the influence of the energy of Lord Shri Krishna, the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of everything, by knowing that one can return to him and personally meet him.
Verse 32. Etat samsuchitam brahmam strapatra yachikit sama yadishvare bhagavati karma brahmani bhavitama.
O Brahman Vasudev, it is decided by the learned that the best remedial measure for removing all troubles and miseries is to dedicate one's activities to the service of the Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna.
Verse 33. Amayo yascha bhutanam jayate yena surataha tadeva yamayam dravyam na punati chikitsama.
O good soul, does not a thing, applied therapeutically, cure a disease which was caused by that very same thing?
Verse 34. Evam nridam kriya yogaha sarve sansriti hetavaha ta evatma vinashaya kalpante kalpita pare.
Thus, when all of man's activities are dedicated to the service of the Lord, those very activities which caused his perpetual bondage become the destroyer of the tree of work.
Verse 35. Yadatra kriyate karma bhagvat paritoshanam gnanam yadadhinam hi bhakti yoga samavanvitam.
Whatever work is done here in this life for the satisfaction of the mission of the Lord is called Bhakti Yoga, or transcendental loving service to the Lord. And what is called knowledge becomes a concomitant factor.
Verse 36. Kurvana yatra karmani bhagavat chetskaya shakrita gunanti gunamanani vrushnasyanusmaranti cha.
While performing duties according to the order of Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one constantly remembers him, his names and his qualities.
Verse 37. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumna Niruddhaya Nama Shankarsanaya cha.
Let us all chant the glories of Vasudeva along with his plenary expansions, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarsana.
Verse 38. Iti murtyabhidhanena mantramurtimamurtikam yajate yajya purusam sa shamyak darshanaha puman.
Thus, he is the actual seer who worships in the form of transcendental sound representation the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who has no material form.
Verse 39. Imam swanigamam brahmam anavetya madanushtitam adanme jnanam aishwaryam swasmina bhavam chakeshavaha.
O Brahmana, thus by the Supreme Lord Krishna, I was endowed first with the transcendental knowledge of the Lord as inculcated in the confidential parts of the Vedas, then with the spiritual opulences, and then with his intimate loving service.
Verse 40. Tvamapyadva shrutam visratam vibho samapyate yena vidam bubudsitam prakyahi dukher muhur dhitatmanam sangha kalesha nirvana mushanti nanyatha.
Please, therefore, describe the Almighty Lord's activities, which you have learned by your vast knowledge of the Vedas, for that will satisfy the hankerings of great learned men, and at the same time mitigate the miseries of the masses of common people who are always suffering from material pangs. Indeed, there is no other way to get out of such miseries. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please forgive me many mistakes. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Yashwini Mataji and Usha Mataji. You recited the verses so nicely. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Manu Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Hare Krishna, I'm here.
Hare Krishna, my humble obeisances
My
to
humble
you.
obeisances to you too. I'm parked in a car park for this class, so maybe I'll not use the video today. If there's any
Okay.
interruption, I will tell you. Hopefully this should be okay.
So shall I make you the host now, Prabhuji?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatam Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Shmratam Swakataha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridyantostahi Abhadrani Vidhunoti Shvehsatam Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So we're reading from Canto 1, Chapter 5, verse number 33. Amayo yasya bhutanam jayate yena shuvrata tadeva hi amayam dravyam napunati chikitsitam. Amayo yasya bhutanam jayate yena shuvrata tadevi amayam dravyam napunati chikitsitam. Amayo yasya bhutanam jayate yena shuvrata Tadeva hi amayam dravyam na punati chikitsitam. Synonyms: Amaya, diseases. Yacha, whatever. Bhutanam, of the living being. Jayate, become possible. Yena, by the agency. Suvrta, O good soul. Tat, that. Ev, very. He, certainly. Amayam, disease. Dravyam, thing. Na, does it not. Punati, cure. Chikitsitam, treated with. Translation by Srila Prabhupada and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O good soul, does not a thing applied therapeutically cure a disease which was caused by that very same thing? Purport. An expert physician treats his patient by a therapeutic diet. For example, milk preparation sometimes cause disorder of the bowel, but the very same milk converted into yogurt or curd and mixed with some other remedial ingredients cure such disorders. Similarly, the threefold miseries of material existence cannot be mitigated simply by material activity. Such activities have to be spiritualized, just as by fire iron is made red hot, and thereby action of fire begins. Similarly, material conception of a thing is at once changed as soon as it is into the service of the Lord. That is the secret of spiritual success. We should not try to lord it over the material nature, nor should we reject material things. The best way to make the best use of a bad bargain is to use everything in relation with the Supreme Spiritual Being. Everything is an emanation from the Supreme Spirit, and by his inconceivable power, he can convert spirit into matter and matter into spirit. Therefore, a material thing is at once turned into a spiritual force by the great will of the Lord. The necessary condition for such a change is to employ so-called matter in the service of the spirit. That is the way to treat our material diseases and elevate ourselves to the spiritual plane, where there is no misery, no lamentation, no fear. When everything is thus employed in the service of the Lord, we can experience that there is nothing except the Supreme Brahman. The Vedic mantra that everything is Brahman is thus realized by us. Om Jnanam Timirindasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Yaksharan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padkamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namoste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shirade Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuve Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Amayascha Bhutanam Jayate Yena Subrata Tadeva Hyamyam Dravyam Na Punachikisitam. Good soul, oh good soul, does not a thing applied therapeutically cure a disease which was caused by that very same thing? So we are discussing Narad Muni's conversation with Vyasadeva. And Srila Vyasadeva was not satisfied, for which, after writing so many Vedic scriptures, for which Srila Narad Muni started to give an explanation as to why he is not very happy. And therefore, he concluded thereafter that it is only by devotional service of Supreme Lord Hari that one can feel completely happy. Not only that, Vyasadeva should just compose a whole Purana about the activities of Lord Hari, but also he should meditate upon these activities, because that is the way to completely be contented by the integration of the living entity in the will of the Lord. So Narad Muni started to recite his own story, how he became a devotee of the Lord by the association of Vedantists. And during the Chaturmasya, Narad Muni was constantly hearing the pastimes of the Lord from the pure heart free from envy or kam, krodha, or lust or anger. So, by eating their remnants in due course of time, Narad Muni became purified in his heart. So he started to describe, he understood the knowledge, transcendental knowledge, and also the essence of the transcendental knowledge. And here, this particular verse 1533 is actually, Srila Prabhupada mentions in his lecture on August 14, 1974, it is the essence of Krishna consciousness movement. Essence of, this verse is defined as essence of Krishna consciousness movement. O good soul, does not a thing applied therapeutically cure a disease which is caused by that very same thing? And Srila Prabhupada explained this verse in a very, very beautiful way. So in terms of therapeutically, which means that something that can cause the disease can also remedify the disease. And he gave the example. He gave the example, if you eat too much of rubbery, because people want to gratify their senses, they want to eat nice things. And this is too much of sense gratification leads to disease. An example is if somebody eats too much of rasagulla, rabri, let's say they eat a dozen of rabri, rasgulla, and then ate lots of rabri, what will be the implication? Because of the high level of sense gratification, the body will become diseased and there will be problem. And he said that this problem can also be solved by the same ingredients of which those rabri and gulab jamuns were made, which is nothing but milk. So if somebody then takes yogurt with pepper, okay, I can hear some nice sound from the background. Let me see if I can mute. Okay, here, right. So if somebody takes the preparation of yogurt, mixed salt, pepper, and lime, and take that milk preparation, which is yogurt, then he can be cured of the bad disease of stomach. If somebody is running for diarrhea, the diarrhea will be stopped by this preparation. So the thing which was used, which caused the problem, can also solve the problem. And what is the relevance of this here? So the relevance is that these senses that we have are the cause, the activities of the senses are the cause of our bondage in this material world. Unless we get rid of this activity, unless these activities are purified, till such time we will continue to have this bondage. But now how can the activities be purified? That is a multi-billion question. And this particular verse is answering that question, that activities can be easily purified if instead of gratifying our senses, we gratify senses of Krishna. And that's very important point. But why is it so that if we gratify senses of Krishna and we will get no karmic reaction? And that is the beauty of the activities performed in the service of Krishna, that there'll be absolutely no karmic reaction. And if there's no karmic reaction, there's no bondage. Absolutely no bondage in the material world. I'm just looking for a verse. Give me a moment. Yeah, 398. Yeah, so we know this verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It says, Ataha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grayam indriyaha sevan mukhe hi jivadau swam ev spuriti yadaha. It says that because Krishna's form, qualities, pastimes are all on the absolute platform, material senses cannot therefore appreciate them. But when a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified at once. Gradually, one comes to understand who Krishna really is. Now, just imagine there's a sense, sound vibration. People use this sound vibration for all kinds of discussions. All kinds of desires are expressed through the tongue, and tastes are experienced. But the same tongue, same senses, it's like same ingredients of milk and yogurt, is utilized to serve the holy names of the Lord, to chant the holy names of the Lord, to taste the holy prashadam of the Lord. Then it becomes the cause of the purification. It itself can cure one from the diseased life of this material bondage. Many people think that it is attachment, material. They want to stay away from material. That understanding is incomplete. There are many Mayavadi philosophers who propagate that they would like to be detached from the matter, but they don't know who to be attached to, because the understanding is very, very deep. They think that if we are detached from the matter, we will achieve salvation or moksha. But again, another verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu proves that is very incomplete understanding. Anasaktasya vishyan yatharam upayunjataha nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate. So it says that when one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relation to Krishna, one is rightly situated above possessiveness. So if one finds the way to relate it to Krishna, then same problem, same thing that is the cause of the bondage will become the cause of freedom. That is the chikitsatam, cure a disease which is caused by the same thing. That is how a disease can be cured. Yeah. So in the previous word, Narada Muni said, Karma Brahmani Bhavitam. Your activity should be dovetailed in the matter of satisfying the Supreme Lord. That is the way of devotional service. How one should get his karma engaged. This is what is expressed in this verse. Atmayo yascha bhutanam jayate yena sabrata. You've got a disease, then that disease has to be, that dysentery has to be solved by the yogurt dish. That's the way to perfection. Because the next part of the verse that I recited from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is Prapanchikataya buddhya hari sambandhi vastuna mumukshubhi parityago vairagyam falgu kathayate. One who rejects everything without knowledge of his relationship to Krishna is not as complete in his renunciation. So this whole idea of that utilize anything that we can utilize in the service of Krishna is good. There's no problem. Anything that we cannot utilize in the service of Krishna, and still if we are attached to it, that is really bad. You see, we have to be attached to what can be used in the service of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada gave an example. If let's say there is somebody who is using the ingredients of cement and brick and stone, and there's so many workers making plans and developing these skyscraper buildings. And those skyscraper building has the dancing hall for sense gratification. At the same time, there are devotees who are also using the same ingredients of cement, bricks, and they are building beautiful temple of Krishna for dancing. So the people who have made skyscraper building for sense gratification, they are also dancing. And devotees of Krishna, they are also worshipping and dancing. They both are doing similar activity. But one who is dancing in the hall of a skyscraper dance ball, he is going to hell. And the other who is dancing in the temple room of Krishna is becoming completely liberated. Srila Prabhupada says, this is the secret. This is the complete secret. So this is called chikitsam. There is another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, which comes from Canto 7, Chapter 5, verse number 31. Nate vidu swartha gatam hi vishnum. Srila Prabhupada has quoted this verse every now and then. Dasyaya bahir arthamanina. Andha Yatha andher upaniyamanas te pishatantrayam urudamani baddha. Persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life, who have therefore accepted as a leader or guru a similar blind man attached to external sense objects, cannot understand goal of life is to return home back to Godhead and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. As blind man is guided by another blind man, misses the right path and falls into a ditch, materially attached men, led by another materially attached men, are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor, which are made of very strong cords, and they continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold miseries. Bhairarthamaninaha. They are hopeful of material success. Bhairarthamaninaha. They are so hopeful. Bahir means external and Arth means interested. Manina means take seriously. So they are taking very seriously this external interest. They are making big plans. How can I reach to next level of wealth? When will I become a millionaire or a billionaire? And they are making all these big plans, but they don't know the next moment they are going to die. And once they are going to die, there is nothing going to be left behind. They are following many others who are following the path of materialism. And those who have followed this path of materialism, when they have died, they have reached to the same destination where their material mind has taken them. And similarly, those who are following that path will also reach to the same destination, following the blind leading the blind. Srila Prabhupada also mentioned this verse, Karmana Daiva Netrena, Jantur Deho Papatte, Striya Pravishtodaram Pumso Reta Kanashrayaha. It says Karmana Daiva Netrena. Daiva Netrena means under the supervision of the Lord. Everything is happening under the supervision of the Lord. For Krishna, there is nothing is material. Everything is spiritual because Krishna is spiritual. It is just as material energy. So what? Big deal. But the soul, which is 1 by 10,000 part of the tip of the hair, they become influenced because material energy of Krishna is very powerful. And under that influence, the soul gets captured, enamored by the material desires, and it starts running after this temporary, transient experiences of life. Krishna in this verse says, under supervision of the Supreme Lord and according to the result of his work, living entity, the soul is made to enter into the womb of a woman through the particle of male semen to assume a particular type of body. They don't know what is the result. These blind people who are after materialistic life, they don't know what is the danger. What is the danger? What is the risk of not being engaged in devotional life? They are not able to see the chikitsata, the medicine that is available through the same material energy, same material senses, can be utilized in the service of the Lord, and one can get out of this cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. They don't realize this. So, to get a particular type of human form to a person who has already suffered hellish life, the soul is transferred to the semen of a man who is just suitable to become his father. Prabhupada, I'm reading the purport from the purport of this verse of Karmana Deva Nitrana 331.1. He says, in order to particular type of human form, a person who has already suffered hellish life, the soul is transferred to the semen of one who is just suitable to become his father. During sexual intercourse, the soul is transferred through the semen of the father into mother's womb in order to produce a particular type of body. This process is applicable to all embodied living entities, but especially mentioned for the men who is transferred to Tamasir hell. After suffering there, then who He who has made many types of hellish bodies like those of dogs and hogs is to come again to the human form. He is given the chance to take the birth in the same type of body from which he's degraded himself to hell. So this is the danger. This is the danger which they are not aware of. And if they are not aware of this danger, they will continue to be very hopeful in the material life, and they will suffer again and again. Hmm? It says, work done as a sacrifice of Vishnu has to be performed. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse number 9. Otherwise, it will cause bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, you do your prescribed duty for whose satisfaction? For Krishna's satisfaction. In that way, you will always remain free from bondage. And that is therefore, this particular verse is said to be the North Pole or the guiding star or the directional sloka for all the devotees, because they must utilize the resources of Krishna in the service of Krishna consciousness, in the service of Lord Krishna himself. The moment they do the opposite, it will entangle them. And this is Bhakti Yoga. This is Bhakti Yoga. By Gyan of material energy, nobody can achieve anything up until the point of liberation, because one has to again fall down. But whereas Krishna has explained in Bhagavad Gita that one who comes to my abode would never ever return, would never ever return to this world of material bondage, of death and birth. So I will now finish this point here, shloka. So His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj said, I was speaking to him once, he said that kaante se kaanta nikalna hai. Because Prabhupada said to him once that use the thorn to remove another thorn. Use one thorn to remove another thorn. This is how we have to utilize the karma to get rid of karma. What kind of karma? So there's akarma, vikarma, and karma. So this is akarma. When we do activities to please the Lord, these activities will release us from the previous bondages created by our other karmas. And that is the way to get out of this material world. So thank you very much. If there's any question or comment, please, we can take it now. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So if there is no comment or questions, we can close the session here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry if there are no questions. Maybe I would like to just utilize that for one small question.
Yes.
So the last point that you mentioned, that performing the Krishna karma, or the activities for the Supreme Lord, are they going to free us from the previous sinful actions that we performed in all of the lives, or is that the case that we will have to suffer the reactions, but then the currently performing devotional service will help us in the future? How exactly does that work?
Yeah, so as long as one is in the prison house, the law of the prison house will act upon that prisoner. But if that prisoner is put into accepts to reform, and he starts working on that path, then because he has agreed to reform himself, and because he's working towards it, most of the punishments will be taken away, because they are no more required to punish that particular prisoner, because he has already agreed to come out of it, to come out of the prison house. Similarly, when a living entity has already agreed in his will to serve the Lord, not out of force, but out of love, because his dormant love in the heart is arising, is manifesting due to devotion service, then Prakriti, the material nature, has nothing to do to give him as a punishment. You know, so if there are many types of karma. If they are prarabdha karma, which are fully manifested, because of which we have this body, because of which we take birth in a certain place, because of which we get certain karmic reactions, if they're fully manifested, they will still impact the body, but rest of it simply vanishes completely. And one walks out of the body and goes to the material, spiritual world straight away after passing from this body. So you can say that, yes, Krishna also says that, Sarv dharma parityajya mamekam sharanavaja aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma. I will free you from all the sinful reactions, isn't it? He said that. So it definitely means that he will free us from all the sinful reactions, and we can go back to Krishna in our original constitutional position. We are getting these karmic reactions because we still want to enjoy in this material world. Hence, there is a lot of karmic reaction. There is a lot of karma working upon us. The moment we leave that desire and become hopeful or disgusted about from this material energy, then all these karmic reactions won't be there, you see. And Krishna says, and Srila Prabhupada has stated, in this lifetime, you can achieve abode of the Lord, from where one doesn't have to come back. So no karmic reactions will be implicated. Otherwise, the karmic reactions will continue for billions of lifetime, and they'll drag the soul into material energy, into material world for many, many lives. I hope that is okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. No, that's a perfectly very logical and yeah, sounds to be true. But I was just wondering, Prabhuji, like, at what stage do we completely get rid of all those? And like there were some instances wherein even probably the very elevated devotees had to suffer some bit of their karma. I mean, they were kind of ready, qualified to go back to the Godhead, but they had to suffer a little more karma. And was just wondering.
Yeah. So the suffering of karma, which is for materialistic, is not the same for the spiritualist. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that they are felt like love bites of a lover for a spiritualist. They don't give him pain internally. Why? Because all the suffering are meant to come closer to Krishna. And every time, let's say there's a warrior who's fighting in the war, and he's getting these he's getting hit by dangerous elements on him, or arrows, but he is continuously progressing towards the success. So every time any kind of weapon which hurts him brings some joy to him, because he's coming closer to success. In Bhishma Dev Parv also, it is described like that. Prabhupada is mentioned in one of the purports, I don't remember where exactly, but he mentions that it is like love bites. It might hurt, but it is very pleasurable for the devotees to get some misery in their life, which appears to be karmic reaction for others, but it's no more a karmic reaction. It is just an offering of the Lord for us to come closer to him, so that we completely come out of the realization. We completely realize that we are not this body. We are the spirit soul. So the suffering of the devotees are not the same as the suffering of the materialists. When materialists suffer, they hanker for their life. When spiritualists so seemingly suffering, they only hanker for the spiritual life. And spiritual life means coming out of the body. So getting rid of this entire material bondage and coming to the spiritual platform. So karmic reaction appears to be, looks like, but it's not the same. In both the cases, different implications are there. One karmic reaction is putting someone into bondage. Other appearing to be karmic bondage is putting someone to complete freedom of life. Is very, very close to the winning of the race, you know. He's become very jubilant. He's become very successful. Yes, I'm getting there in 100-meter race, for example. Last few seconds are remaining and he's very tired, thirsty, no energy left, but still he's getting there. There's a success, there's a joy in that. Whereas the other one is going to die and take birth again and again and again. So there's no joy. That's how they're very different. I hope I could explain.
Very, very beautiful, Prabhuji. Really, yeah, it's kind of a got very clear to me. Thank you very much. And at what stage do we start losing those karmic reactions? Is it like in the initial stages, or probably the levels of bhava and above stages?
Yeah, so it happens very gradually. As to the degree our faith increases in the protection of the Lord, and to the degree we continue to take shelter of the Lord, to that degree Krishna's protection will increase, and to that degree karmic reaction will not be. So actually the key is the surrender. The more we surrender, the more we will come out of the pressures of karmic reaction. That's how it works. Now, if we want to measure it in terms of nishtha, bhava, prema, ruchi, etc., I cannot exactly say, but all I can say that at time of nishtha, the faith becomes very, 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 very strong. And that faith comes to the stage of becoming bhava and prema later. So, yes, it is completely dependent upon the degree of faith. And the stages that you have described are nothing but reflection of the degree of faith and surrender to Krishna. To that degree, we also get reciprocatory love of Krishna. And so at certain point in time, I think when our faith is very, very high, then we don't suffer those kind of karmic reactions the way materialistic people suffer. I hope that is clear.
Fabulous. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. And sorry for too many questions. Thank you very much.
They're all very nice questions. Thank you for asking.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, dear devotee, I'll press leave now.
Sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Navebhyo namo namaha.
Very nice class, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you.
Prabhuji.
Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo. Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.